Hi, I'm Corbett Smith, the Dallas Morning News, sitting alongside award-winning co-host Matt Wixon. Hi, Matt.
Now getting awards for co-hosting.
Yeah, you do for the podcast and for these videos. Highly watched and highly entertaining. We're here to talk a little bit about what happened in Week 5 and preview what is a fairly light Week 6 schedule. Matt, there was a huge battle in 6-6A last week between Allen and Flower Mound. Marcus, you were there. Allen looked good late, but they needed a change at quarterback to get it done against Marcus.
Yeah, Marcus looked really good in that game and gave him a tough fight. It was tied in the third quarter. And like you said, Allen's quarterback, they started with Seth Green. And throughout the year, they've been using two quarterbacks. And Coach Westerberg has said, hey, we're going to go with the hot guy. And Seth Green has kind of been that guy in recent weeks. But he struggled. He had 3 interceptions by midway through the second quarter. One of them was a bad decision. The other one was, off a quarterback or off a receiver's hands. But Mitchell Jonke came in, and then suddenly Allen's offense just really sprung to life. And
he had a real improvisational touchdown where he flipped the ball to Kirby Bennett, and it was about a 10-yard touchdown, but certainly a big highlight in that game.
And he also scrambled for a 53-yard gain out of his own end zone at one point. We saw a lot of that with Kyler Murray, not necessarily expecting that with Mitchell Jonke, but he's got some moves back there. I mean, he's mobile. He certainly is a threat. If he gets outside, he can do some damage.
Allen is 1 win away for tying second all-time in Texas history in consecutive wins. That would give them 49, which would tie South Lake Carroll and Abilene, who are bottlenecked right there at number 2. Another huge game, this one in 4-6A. That was Arlington Martin and Arlington Lamar. Arlington Martin was without their star running back, Nick Smith, but it did not matter. They win easily, 52-24. That's got to speak well for Martin's chances to close that district out, even though this was the district opener.
Yeah, I mean, Bowie could still have something to say about it, but it looks like Martin is the clear leader. At the start of the year, I thought maybe it was going to be Martin and Lamar, and we're kind of evens, but Martin blew that theory up pretty quickly. That was a really impressive performance by him.
When you look at our favorite district, it's probably 14-5A. So many good teams there. A couple of really big games this past week, and that was Lancaster coming up with its first district win, avoiding losing 3 straight. They beat Timberview by 2 scores, 35-21. Huge win there for Coach Chris Gilbert and his kids.
Yeah, Lancaster had made some mistakes in recent weeks, and it really cost them when they lost to Mansfield Lake Ridge, for example. And in that district, just every win is so huge. You would think in a lot of districts, hey, we just got by Mansfield Timberview, we got some smooth sailing here. In 14-5A, it's just week after week, and there's going to be a really good team that gets left out.
Absolutely. That team might be Waxahachie. They've started 0-2 in district play after losing their quarterback, John Kitna's son. They get beat last week, giving up 60 to Mansfield Lake Ridge. Lake Ridge looks awfully dominant at this point with Jed Duffy rolling at quarterback.
Yeah, Lake Ridge, they're the ones who beat Lancaster the week before. And for Waxahachie, the big thing is, yes, they don't have Jordan Kitna, but now that offense can't stay on the field, and their defense is just getting lit up by those really good teams in that district.
They've given up 130 points in district play over the last 2 weeks, and it's going to be hard to beat anybody doing that. Some big games that we won't necessarily talk about, but big wins for Garland over Saxe. That puts Garland, in a very crowded district there, where they've still got a good chance to win the district title once again. There, Highland Park. What can you say about Highland Park? But they win at home. We know that they lost to Pulaski Academy earlier this year, but that was a gutsy 28-27 win over North Mesquite.
Yeah, that extra point comes back to haunt North Mesquite. But yeah, give Highland Park credit. This is not, they've had so many really strong teams over the year. This is not one of their epic teams, if you want to call it that. But they get the job done, and they defend their home turf this time.
Wiley East with a huge win over McKinney North. Benjamin, the story there, rushed for almost 300 yards, 5 touchdowns, a huge 72-point explosion there for Wiley East. Let's talk about a little bit about games for this week, Week 6. And you're looking at probably the biggest game, without question, is South Lake Carroll finally plays a game in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They play Coppell at Coppell. Should be a really interesting test for Carroll and Coppell as well. Yeah,
Carroll has been traveling they've been Oklahoma, Abilene, down in the Austin area. Coppell seems like a really easy trip for them now. But this will be a really good game. They're rivals for one thing, but traditionally they've played a lot of really tough games, really hard-fought games. But I think it's going to come down to Lil Jordan Humphrey, I should say. I shouldn't put the
Lil,
"t" in there.
no.
Lil Jordan Humphrey, who is not Lil at all. He plays big for them. He's literally and figuratively big. And he runs the ball for them. He catches passes out of the backfield. He is just a really fantastic player.
166 yards receiving for him. Also another 100-yard game on the ground in a nice win against Abilene. On Thursday night, we've got a really interesting matchup between the Colony, who's kind of bounced back from some early season struggles, and Frisco Lone Star. Lone Star unbeaten, but they were unbeaten at this point last year at 5-0 and missed the playoffs at 7-3. That District 9 at 5A, one of the craziest around.
Well, and the big thing with the Colony is, can you stop Khalil Banks and that great offensive line that the Colony has? That's what you have to do. They're going to try to control the ball and keep it away from Jason Shelley and that Lone Star offense, which is pretty phenomenal. They're a spread offense, a little bit different, but they can light it up.
And in 11-6A, we talked about Garland's win. Rowlett had a big win against Tyler Lee. They face off this week, and two unbeaten teams in that district. And you'd like the chances of the winner of this game maybe getting at least a share of the district title.
Yeah, that district has really impressed me. I think it's better than what I thought. Maybe not an elite team in there,
right,
but a lot of really solid teams, and Garland and Rowlett are among them, Saxe, and of course Rockwall, which started 0-3, but we knew they were much better than an 0-3 team, and they're coming back strong now.
Don't sleep on Lakeview Centennial either.
Right.
They've actually played pretty well here in the last couple of weeks. Well, for Matt Wixon, I'm Corbett Smith. Thanks for watching. Make sure you catch SportsDayHS.com for all your game updates and live stats throughout the week.